Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a classic mystery, one that's probably driven every developer a little crazy at some point. Why does the app that runs perfectly on your laptop suddenly start crashing when you move it to a shared system like Kubernetes? Well, let's dive in and break down the resource management you need to know to tame your applications.
Do you know the scene, right? You've been coding away, you finally run your app locally, and it's perfect. It's snappy, it's stable, everything just works. And why wouldn't it? It has the whole machine to itself. Life is good. But then, deployment day. You push your shiny new app to the Kubernetes cluster, and all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose. It's sluggish, it's unstable, and worst of all, it just keeps crashing. And there's nothing in the logs, you're just staring at the screen, totally baffled.
So what's the deal? What's happening between your laptop and that production cluster? Well, here's the kicker. The problem probably isn't your code. The problem is that your application is no longer living alone in a quiet suburb. It's moved into a crowded, noisy apartment building. It has neighbors.
And this brings us to what we call the noisy neighbor problem. See, in a Kubernetes cluster, you've got tons of different apps, or containers, all running on the same server. Now, if one of those apps gets super greedy and starts hogging all the CPU and all the memory, it can literally starve the other apps, causing them to slow to a crawl or just fall over completely. To stop this from becoming total anarchy, Kubernetes has to have a set of rules. You need a system to enforce fair play among all the applications, making sure every container gets what it needs to run properly without letting one bad actor bring the whole party to a screeching halt.
And those rules, my friends, are called requests and limits. Honestly, these are the two most fundamental concepts you have to master to run stable apps on Kubernetes. Think of them as the official rules of the road that tell your application exactly how much CPU and memory it's allowed to play with.
All right, let's start with requests. The easiest way to think about a request is as a reservation. It's the absolute guaranteed minimum amount of CPU and memory that your container needs just to start up and do its job. When you set a request, you're telling Kubernetes, hey, don't even think about running my app unless you can promise me at least this much. And then we've got limits. This is the polar opposite. It's the hard ceiling, the absolute maximum amount of resources your container can ever use, no matter what. So if a request is the floor, a limit is the non-negotiable ceiling that you just can't break through. It's the cliff's edge for your app's resource use.
Now, what's really crucial to understand is who in the Kubernetes system pays attention to these settings because they're used by two different components. Requests are for the scheduler. That's the part that decides which node your app should run on. It won't place your app if a node can't meet the request. Limits, on the other hand, are enforced at runtime by the kubelet, the agent that lives on the node itself. So what you get is this really brilliant two-step enforcement process. It's a design that's built for stability, right from the moment you deploy your app to its entire life on the cluster. Let's break down how that actually plays out. Okay, so here's how it goes. Step 1, you hit deploy. The Kubernetes scheduler scans all the nodes and asks, all right, who has enough free resources to satisfy this app's requests? As soon as it finds a good home, it places the app there. Then step 2 begins. The kubelet on that node takes over, and it's now a security guard, constantly monitoring your app to make sure it never, ever crosses the limits you defined.
But what happens if your app gets a little ambitious and tries to break those rules? Well, the consequences are wildly different for overusing CPU versus overusing memory. And let me tell you, one is way, way worse than the other.
So if your app tries to use more CPU than its limit, Kubernetes throttles it. It basically puts on the brakes, slowing your app down, but keeping it alive. It survives. Memory, though, memory's a whole different story. If your application tries to use even one single byte more memory than its limit, it's killed. Instantly. No warning, game over. And this brutal event has a name you've probably seen in your nightmares. OM killed. It stands for out of memory killed. The kubelet sees the memory violation and immediately steps in to protect the stability of the entire server by killing the offending app. And that is the real culprit behind so many of those mysterious production crashes. Okay, so now that we understand the problem and the tools Kubernetes gives us, how do we actually set our apps up for success? Let's get practical and look at the production rulebook.
So depending on how you set requests and limits, Kubernetes automatically assigns your pod a quality of service class. If requests and limits are equal, you get guaranteed. That's for your mission-critical stuff. If requests are less than limits, you get burstable, which offers good flexibility. But, and this is a big but, if you set nothing at all, your pod is classed as best effort. And that sounds nice, but it means your app is at the bottom of the food chain. If the server is under pressure, your app is the very first to be killed. Just don't do this in production. Seriously.
So this all leads us to one simple, powerful, golden rule. If you forget everything else from this explainer, please just remember this one thing. It's the key to running stable, reliable applications in Kubernetes.
Always set both requests and limits in production, every single time. This is how you guarantee your application gets the resources it needs to start, protect it from being randomly killed, and prevent it from becoming that noisy neighbor that brings down the whole system.
And that brings us to our final question for you. Go take a look at your own deployments. Are your applications actually protected from their noisy neighbors? And, maybe just as important, are they being good neighbors themselves? Thanks so much for watching.